Go for two, Moj. We saw a ton of upsets. 7 underdogs wind up winning, including 3 that were double-digit dogs. So that takes us to this week. We got a number of games that could potentially be one-sided again, 9 points or more as far as the point spread. So I'm going to give you some options here, my friend. Okay, we've got the Bills at the Jets. Bills are favored by 13.5. The Bucks at Washington. Bucks are favored by 9.5. Jags at the Colts. Jags are favored by 10.5. Atlanta at Dallas. Atlanta's a +9 there, and the Panthers are +10 at Arizona. Which is going to be the next upset?
There's none. The pendulum's going to swing the other way this week. All these teams are going to cover, I'm telling you right now. But if I had to pick one, if you had to say, Moj, just give me one team to pick, I would probably say Panthers at the Cardinals. And I say that because the Panthers played some decent defense earlier in the year. If they can get a couple of breaks against the Cardinals offense, maybe a short field or two, maybe they can do something. But I just think the pendulum swings the other way this week. I don't know if all these teams are going to cover the spreads, but I think all of them are going to win the ranked games.
I've got Atlanta. They're 9-point underdogs to beat Dallas. Look, Dallas has got some things to fix defensively for sure. They had 14 missed tackles against Denver.
I thought about Dallas, but here's what I don't like. I don't think Dallas is going to lose 2 games in a row at home. That's the only reason why I didn't pick that game.
That's fair. There's a subplot here. Dan Quinn gets to face his former team, so who knows who better in this situation. Certainly those Atlanta players will be fairly motivated, but you know, they gave up 407 yards, along with those missed tackles, 407 yards, no takeaways in that game. This defense, a lot of us thought that they were going to struggle coming into the season. They played above their heads a little bit. Maybe they're coming back to earth right now. And you've got Matt Ryan, who's doing really well. You've got, they're now 4-4 after starting the season, 1-3. The Falcons, they took a lot of heat for cornerback A.J. Terrell, for taking him ahead of CeeDee Lamb in the draft. Those two guys are going to go head-to-head. And, Terrell is coming off his best game as a pro last week, so he's got a chance there. Little CFL connection as well. James Vaughters, who came off the PR last week for Atlanta, had more pressures than anybody else in that game. So, could he make Dak Prescott's life a little bit difficult? Atlanta, you mentioned, they figured out Cordero Patterson. Right? And that's going to play a factor here as well. Against that defense, I think Atlanta could do it. They've got something going.
They could, but again, like I said, I love what Atlanta did offensively. Patterson's in the midst of a crazy career year, a complete outlier when you look at his career totals, but I just think Dallas finds a way to bounce back in this game. Their offense, they're just too good to lay 2 eggs in a row like that.
I thought you were going to flip a coin for your pick.
I'm flipping a coin for my best bets. Like the 5 games we're going to do, I'm flipping coins for that.
Keep an eye on Washington and Tampa, both teams coming off a bye. And defensively, a year ago, Washington did some pretty good things against Tom Brady.
A year ago. Hold on a second. Is this the whole Cincinnati thing? Now you're applying it to the NFL? Hey, a year ago, they're pretty good. Hey, guess what? Washington's going to probably wind up winning this football game because a year ago, they were okay.
Oh, stop it. Come on. Same coaching staff, same quarterbacks on the other side. I'm just telling you that they were able to find some things to slow down Brady. Ultimately, they didn't have the offense to match. You might have some here. All right, listen. We came into the year talking about best divisions. We said it was the NFC West and the AFC West. The NFC West is not one of the best divisions in the NFL when you look at the Seahawks and San Francisco and how poorly they've been doing. So I'm going to give you a choice: the AFC West or the NFC or the AFC North.
Well, I'm going to take exception to your 2 picks because people, just to let you know, I just show up, I get the script, and I don't have any input.
He preps well.
I will say this though: when you talk about the best, are you talking about the best teams, or are you talking about balance? Because if you talk about the best teams, I don't know how you overlook the Rams and the 49ers. 2 great football teams.
49ers are not a great football team.
Pardon me, the Rams, excuse me. The Rams and, of course, the Cardinals is what I'm trying to say. So you got the Rams and the Cardinals, 2 great football teams. Then you have the 49ers and the Seahawks kind of bringing up the rear. Russell Wilson is back. Maybe San Francisco kind of figures a couple things out. Maybe by the end of the year, this division is a little bit more balanced. But if you're looking at 2 powerhouse teams, 2 really good football teams, the NFC West has them. You tell me any other division in football right now that has 2 teams as good as the Cardinals and the Rams.
Yeah, well, I'm talking top to bottom right now. And
top to bottom.
You've got this division. They've got the best team in their division. Right now, they've arguably got the best team in the division right now as far as the AFC North. That's my pick. The Ravens sitting at 6-2. Yeah, the Titans are 7-2, but Again, when you look at what the Ravens are doing right now, the Titans, without Derrick Henry, I don't think what they did this past week is sustainable. They've got a collective winning percentage in the AFC North of .617. They've got 3 of the top 8 scoring offenses in the conference, 3 of the top 7 scoring defenses in the conference. They've got the best player in football in Lamar Jackson right now. He's your MVP frontrunner. He's had 3 come from behind wins this year, so he's showing he can do that, something he couldn't do in his first couple of seasons. 3 of the 4 teams in that division are projected to be in the playoffs. No other division is going to.
All right, you tell me which one of those teams would beat the Rams or the Cardinals?
I think Baltimore absolutely could.
Oh, not a chance.
Absolutely they could. They're so explosive offensively. Defensively, they've got it at all 3 levels. I absolutely think Baltimore could beat any team right now.
All right.
All right. How about this? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And look, when the National Hockey League, they broke ground by being the first professional sports league to go to Vegas, and the NFL quickly followed suit. We certainly think baseball and basketball aren't going to be that far behind, but there was a lot of questions about just what Vegas represents and the gambling element that comes with a crime element. And now you've got a Raiders team. Okay, they dropped John Gruden. Henry Ruggs III, we talked about it last week, what went on in his situation, a tragic situation there. This guy could face a prison sentence of 40-plus years. And now all of a sudden, their cornerback Damon Arnett, a first-round draft pick in 2020, this guy shows some video of him brandishing a gun and making death threats, and all of a sudden the team had to cut him. How much of this is about Vegas? Now look, people make decisions all the time. There's big cities out there. There's New York, there's LA. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I don't know. I mean, should this be something the league should have expected when they went there?
How about this in terms of how much Vegas has to do with this? 0. Absolutely 0. How long have the Vegas Golden Knights been around for? Just ask.
4 years.
Whatever, 4 or 5 years. How many incidents do we hear with the Vegas Golden Knights hockey team? None. You know what it is? It's about the character of the individual that you have on your football club and the decisions that they make. So I'm sorry, people might point to Vegas and say, oh, it's about Vegas, it's Sin City, it's, the gambling, it's the partying. No, it's about the people that you have on in your organization or on your team and the character and integrity that they have and the decisions that they make as individuals. So don't give me this crap about, well, it's about Vegas. No, this is about people who make bad decisions.
Fair enough, but if you're somebody that's got an addiction issue, do you bring what you're addicted to into the house?
No, not necessarily, but again, it goes back to what I mentioned. It's about decision-making processes.
Sure it is, but you can make decisions easier for some people.
Well, again, you're talking about football players and what they've experienced in Vegas. How come we haven't had an incident with the hockey team? Why?
Mike Mayock, their general manager, did kind of acknowledge that it's a fair question. He said, we have to be aware of Vegas, but my thing is this. In just about any mid to big size city in the country, if you want to find trouble, you can find it. It's our job to find the kids that will get past that. He said he did more research on Arnett than he has on any other player and really feels he missed on all of it. But look, a bad situation. The 3 top picks for the Raiders now from that organization, from that draft class, are gone. Tough situation for the team.
Well, the one thing about pro sports teams, they're doing a better job of it, but they're so focused on the measurables, 40s, height, weight, tee times, whatever, you name it. But man, the biggest thing that I would look for if I was a general manager of a team in any of the big leagues, it would be to look at a player's character. Find out about this guy. What is he really made of? I'm not talking about showing up in a hotel room and going through some 20-minute interview process. I'm talking to his high school teachers. I'm talking to his trainers. I'm talking to his teammates. I want to find out everything I can about, hey, Kevin Costner in draft day. Yeah. Right there. That's the type of research that you got to do.
You know what? And if you believe Mike Mayock and what he said, I mean, he dug that deep. And ultimately, they thought they could get it figured out, and they swung, they missed. When we come back, this is going to be a lot of fun. We got Michael Buble. Now, you might not know this because he's such an amazing singer and performer and entertainer, but this guy is a fantasy football freak.
He is a junkie when it comes to fantasy football. I remember one time, and I'll talk about this, the guy's overseas on tour, and, all of a sudden you're getting this, hey, are you watching this game? I'm like, aren't you in Rome or Italy or someplace? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning back there. He's done a concert, goes back to his hotel room, and he's watching Monday Night Football.